Armie Hammer violently raped me for over 4 hours in Los Angeles, during which he repeatedly slapped my head against a wall, bruising my face. He also committed other acts of violence against me, to which I did not consent.
When this woman came out and accused famous actor Armie Hammer of violently assaulting her for 4 hours, things started to unravel, exposing some pretty dark and twisted secrets, including that he liked to eat people.
He would say, oh, I want to remove your ribs. We're going to find a doctor in LA, and I want to smoke them and eat them.
At first, everyone thought that it was all a sick joke, but then human remains started popping up around an abandoned motel that the actor was supposedly renovating. Could this just be a coincidence, or was something more sinister going on? Hello guys, welcome to Crime City, where we explore the strangest and most disturbing cases that haunt our cities. Today we'll look at the creepy case of Armie Hammer, serial killer, cannibal, abuser, all the signs we ignored. We all know Armie Hammer from films and shows like Gossip Girl, The Social Network, and Call Me By Your Name. Born into a wealthy and influential family, Armie had everything going on for him. Money, looks, a beautiful family, and a thriving Hollywood career. But then things started falling apart when creepy situations arose all around him. It all started in July 2020, when Armie and his wife of 10 years, Elizabeth Chambers, announced their separation on Instagram. At the time, the family had been quarantining in the Cayman Islands, but after the announcement, Armie moved back to the country and took on a renovation project with his friend Ashton Ramsey.
It was like this kind of like abandoned, rundown motel, and I came back from the Cayman Islands where I was during quarantine, and I was like, dude, I got nothing to do. And he's like, well, do you want to come live with me in this abandoned motel and do construction with me?
He had previously mentioned the project on his Instagram in August, which was tagged at Joshua Tree National Park. In the post, he shared a picture of Ashton and captioned,
"This is one of my best friends, Ashton. For the last 2 months or so I have lived with Ashton, worked construction with Ashton, and hiked with Ashton every day. He has been such a good friend and boss, and has been the most supportive friend anyone could ever have."
This post confirms that Armie was in the Joshua Tree area around June and July 2020 and was living at the Ramsey 29 motel. Now, around that time, 3 people would mysteriously vanish in the area, and their remains would later be found buried in the desert. But how was Armie connected to all of these? In January 2021, an Instagram user going by the name @HouseOfEffie leaked some disturbing texts that Armie had sent to her and multiple other women that showed Armie's depraved fantasies that included cannibalism, abuse, and extreme BDSM fantasies. He told one woman,
"I am 100% a cannibal. I want to eat you, and I need to drink your blood."
And when one woman accused him of assaulting her, he laughed it off, saying,
"I'm not gonna lie, your crying and crawling away while I stalked you down the hallway was so exhilarating."
That's really messed up. But it gets worse. One woman named Courtney Voskovich, who had dated Armie for 4 months in 2020, also came forward and claimed that the actor had subjected her to emotional abuse.
"He was really into saying he wants to break one of your ribs and eat it, like barbecue it and eat it." In terms of the BDSM stuff, he made that pretty clear that it is something he is interested in very early on in the relationship, referencing breaking my ribs often.
Another ex-girlfriend named Paige Lorenz claimed that Armie kept mannequins in the basement of his family home to learn how to tie up women. She claimed that he was obsessed with meat, bones, and veins, and wanted her to be proud of the bruises that he inflicted on her.
He bit me so hard that it wasn't a love bite or it wasn't really sexy. It was more just painful. And he did, like I said, on multiple occasions ask for me to remove my ribs and he could eat them. It's scary because he said it so seriously. And I think he's obsessed with this idea of consuming and eating the person that he's with.
Paige also claimed that Armie was into knife play and that he had carved the letter A into her skin above her pubic bone before licking the bloody wound and bragging about it to his friends. When these came out, people started wondering whether Armie was just some sicko or if something else was going on. And then Effie, the woman who leaked the cannibalistic DMs, came forward and reported a particularly horrific ordeal that she had endured at the hands of Armie when she was dating him in 2017.
Armie Hammer violently raped me for over 4 hours in Los Angeles, during which he repeatedly slapped my head against a wall, bruising my face. He also committed other acts of violence against me, to which I did not consent.
Armie completely denied these allegations, saying that they were vicious online attacks against him. However, following the allegations, he was dropped by his agency and publicist, making people speculate that maybe there could be some truth to the rumors. But if Armie's depraved fantasies were not just fantasies, what else was he capable of? Erica Lloyd, a single mother with a 12-year-old son, left her home in Walnut Creek on June 14, 2020, to go camping in Joshua Tree National Park. She told her family and friends that she'd be meeting up with 2 friends, who she had apparently met a few days earlier while camping.
She mentioned 2 names. Christian and James are holding my campsite. We have no clue who Christian and James are. There are no records of that we can find, or the police in her phone, which is alarming.
Erica's mom said that she spoke with her daughter the last time on June 16th, and that she was talking really fast and sounded like she was driving. No one heard from Erica after that. Later that day, her car was found vandalized and abandoned at the intersection of Highway 62 and Shelton Road, near the 29 Palms area, which is exactly 10 miles and an 11-minute drive from the Ramsey 29 motel. But what was weird was how the car was damaged.
The radiator is extremely smashed backwards. Yeah. The whole bottom of the radiator, the AC condenser is all pushed backward, hit a very, very large object.
The investigators believe that Erica could have been involved in an accident, but Highway Patrol didn't receive any reports of an accident that had happened that day. So what happened to Erica? Erica's camping gear was found at a camping site in Jumbo Rocks Campground, about 10 miles from where her car was found. And among her belongings was an expensive Yeti cooler that her family said did not belong to her, but there was no sign of Erica.
We came to Joshua Creek, or Joshua Tree, looking for her daughter, Erica.
Erica Lloyd's parents make an emotional plea to help her bring her home.
And we're just asking if anybody had seen the car or her, or have seen her since, to let the authorities know, and that her son Chase is home waiting for her, and that he loves her very much.
The Sheriff's Department believes Lloyd was traveling to Joshua Tree National Park to camp, but it's still unclear if she came by herself or with a group.
During the search for Erica, one of the things that kept the family's hope alive was that her phone kept ringing for several days after she disappeared. And although no one answered, the family saw this as a good sign that Erica could still be alive. However, on the 4th day when they called her phone, a mysterious man answered and said that he had found it on June 18th on Cottonwood Drive, which is less than 1.5 miles from the Ramsey Motel where Armie was staying. And things would only get weirder. On June 25th, 9 days after Erica's disappearance, 56-year-old James Escalante left his home on Shelton Road, which he shared with his girlfriend, and rode his bike towards Highway 62 to help his girlfriend's friend whose car had gotten stuck near 29 Palms Highway.
Went straight up Shelton, got to the intersection of Shelton and 62, called his girlfriend and said, "I can't find your friend." Girlfriend claims that she called the friend on 3-way and asked her to honk her horn. Said she could hear the horn honking. James said, "I got it," and hung up.
That was the last time anyone would ever see or hear from James again. But what's really creepy is that James disappeared in exactly the same place where Erica's car was found. The same area has been described by locals as having an odd vibe.
What's going on in that one area?
Yeah, out of all of that desert that you have, why just that one area is kind of odd.
Were the 2 cases connected? Or was this just another coincidence? Shockingly, the police did not find any of this to be alarming. In fact, they ruled that there was no foul play suspected in both cases, even when the families thought otherwise. And things were about to get even more bizarre. On July 22nd, a dirt bike rider found decomposed human remains in the desert at a location not far from where Erica and James had disappeared. But strangely enough, the remains didn't belong to either Erica or James. Then, on August 8th, a cave expert who had been hired by Erica's family to search for her stumbled upon a red metallic mountain bike that turned out to be the one James was riding when he disappeared. This prompted an extensive search in the area, which ended with a horrific discovery of 2 more sets of human remains. One set of remains was found about a quarter-mile south of Amboy and Wilson Road, while the other was near Shelton Road and Highway 62, east of 29 Palms. Investigators confirmed that one of the remains was that of James Escalante. His cell phone was also found nearby. Now, while you might assume that the other body belonged to Erica Lloyd, chillingly, it didn't. It was the 3rd set of remains. Erica's remains would actually be discovered by hikers on January 31st, 2021. Several more mysterious remains would be found in the same area, leading many to believe that there was a serial killer on the loose. Scarily, most of these deaths occurred between June to July 2020, the same time period that Armie was in the desert doing construction. Coincidence? Oh, you tell me. When news broke out about the bodies popping up in the desert, the internet went wild with speculations that Armie could be the killer. The Twitter account In The Cut posted,
"This is all alleged with hashtag Armie Hammer until proven otherwise. Remember when Armie suddenly began working in construction mid-pandemic and mid-divorce last year? Suddenly, he was employed, in between jobs, working on a hotel in the middle of the desert. In the 6 months during his employment, 10 to 15 minutes away from the site, the remains of the 3 women have been found. We are not conflating the 2 ideas, but there have been long-standing rumors for a while."
However, the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office said that Armie was not a suspect and that they had no plans to investigate him over the remains. But given how rich and influential his family is, are you really surprised? Instagram account Dumois, which publishes celebrity gossip, started sharing a number of submissions indicating that a shocking story about Armie would be published. Then House of Effie posted,
"Holy shit, I know what's going to come out. It's bad, really bad."
While there are some people who are convinced that Armie is the serial killer behind the Joshua Tree deaths, others feel like people were reaching. An anonymous source told Dumois that Armie had girls there the whole time, arguing that he wouldn't have mentioned the project on TV if he had killed 2 people. Now, while all these might be just more speculations, it becomes scary when you learn about Armie's dark family background. The docuseries The House of Hammer, which premiered in September 2022, revealed some pretty disturbing details about the men in the Hammer family. Apparently, in 1995, Armie's grandfather, Julian, killed a man in cold blood in his home in Los Angeles, and then claimed that it was self-defense. The charges against him ended up being dropped, and he actually got away with it. But it gets worse. Armie's aunt Cassie, who is the co-producer of the documentary and estranged from the rest of the family, has come out and accused her dad, Julian, of violating and abusing her as a child.
I'm 11 years old and my father has me hold a phone book while he shoots at it. So, but again, that's my normal. That's what I was used to.
In the documentary, she described her family as being sick and twisted in more ways than one.
If you believe about making deals with the devil, the Hammers are top of the totem pole.
Wow. What do you think is the truth? This is a pretty messed up case. Despite the coincidences being hard to ignore, it's important to note that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. So if Armie did commit any of these crimes, I hope that the law catches up with him and he's held accountable. What do you think? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to Crime City. Thanks for watching.